Tried swimming, I tried netball, and felt very toxic. Really wasn't enjoying life doing that. Oh, I wanted that, and I found that with circus, and I fell in love with that. A youth circus website page. That's where my love for circus started. Sitting down in this live drawing class and just thinking to myself, if I'm not going to pursue circus now, that's the biggest audience that I have ever performed to, toured professionally with that company, and we've been able to go to these amazing festivals. Hey guys, and welcome back. As you can probably tell from the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking a bit about my background of how and why I got into circus, and some of the training and performing that I have done so far in my life. Thank you to Nina Smith for requesting this video. I love it when you guys ask me to film stuff because I love filming content that you guys want to see. So please keep commenting down below what you would like to see from me. So first up, I'm going to talk about how I got into circus and the training that I did leading up to circus and the kind of training that I did into circus. So when I was really young, my parents, they put me into gymnastics classes, and I did them from a young age up into competing with the club. And I ended up doing that for about 8 years, so quite a long time. And that was primarily what I did for like sport and enjoyment when I was younger. Now, the time from when I finished gymnastics to when I started circus, I ended up trying a lot of school sports because I was still in like middle or high school, and I tried so many different school sports. I tried swimming, I tried netball. At the time I was still doing gymnastics for like school, but I wasn't doing it like competitions or anything like that. And I ended up trying so many sports, just trying to find something that I wanted to like do next. And then I don't even remember the full story of how I found out about circus, but I do vaguely remember like one evening, I think I'd done swimming practice that morning, and I was sitting down to do homework, and I don't know how it happened, but I came across like a youth circus like website page, and I was like, maybe I could try this. Maybe this could be like my next sport thing that I try. And I ended up signing up for youth circus classes. At the time, I first started with a company called Flipside Circus, and they had a bunch of like kids classes. So I started out doing them, and then eventually they like changed locations, and they were so much further away, and so I changed the classes that I was going to. So I ended up finding a different company, and they are called Circa, and they're also based in Brisbane, just like Flipside. And I joined their youth circus program, which, I think that's where my love for circus started. I had some amazing coaches. We got taught so much amazing stuff. There was a big emphasis on like working in this like troupe that we had and creating shows together and putting those shows on. And I fell in love with it. And I ended up doing circus for about 6 years, I think possibly a bit more. And I ended up doing quite a few sort of like shows with them where we actually like did a show in a theater, and we put it on for like family and friends and parents, and I fell in love with like performing on stage. First year out of high school, I was starting a uni course degree, and at this stage, I think it was 2 of my friends from my circus troupe had applied for a circus university down in Melbourne. And I just remember going into this design course that I was doing at the time, sitting down in this live drawing class and just thinking to myself, if I'm not going to pursue circus now, then I won't be able to later on. Because the younger you are, like the more better your body is compared to if you did start later on. Like, yes, you can still start later on and still have fun doing it and be able to do it, but in my head I was like, if I want to try doing circus for a career, I felt that I had to start when I was younger so that I could get like the most time doing that possible, because the average like circus career lifespan is usually when you are younger, and how long it lasts really depends on the specialties that you choose to do. Some of them are more high impact than others, like tumbling compared to juggling. So someone who juggles might have a really, really long circus career, but if you're doing high impact stuff, you know, there's a greater risk of injuries and things. So that's sort of like the reasoning and the thinking behind why I was like, I need to pursue this now. So having thought that, I then stopped doing that course and I applied for the circus school down here in Melbourne, which is the National Institute of Circus Arts. And I got in and I went there and I did the bachelor course, which was 3 years. And that's how I developed myself further as a circus performer and started to like make actual like connections within the industry. And I also met some of my like greatest friends there and formed wonderful friendships with heaps of people there too. That kind of concludes like the training segment, and now I'll go into like the performing and like my actual like career working stuff, which despite the fact that I did go to NICA, I started performing before that. So the performing stuff that I've done kind of started with the youth circus. Performing wise, if we're gonna go like back to like non-paid stuff, started with gymnastics and youth circus because we were putting on those shows. And then my first big performance was the year I finished school. I had a friend suggest volunteering for the Woodford fire ceremony, and I managed to get in and I did that, and we like created a whole show. And I think to this day actually still that's the biggest audience that I have ever performed to. I want to try and remember the amount of people that it was, but I think I'll just be pulling a number out of my butt that is a very random guess. But yeah, that was a lot of people. The fire ceremony, most people go to that are on site at that one time, so that was a huge amount of people, but so much fun. Around that time as well, when I was in youth circus, I started teaching people circus, so I did kids and adult classes, and that really furthered my sort of education in circus and my love for circus as well. Then that brings me to when I was at NICA, and while I was at NICA, I started doing some gigs as well, and that kind of like, that took me to the circus performing community, and I did a couple shows and roving gigs and things like that. And then part of NICA was that we put on these shows, and we ended up doing one in first year, we did one in second year, and then we did 2 in our final year. So we got really used to putting on like high professional level shows there. So post NICA performing, I got a job with the Dummies Corp, that is their like company name, and I got contracted with 2 other girls to create a kids family comedy show that we would like tour and do shows of that. And we then premiered that at Melbourne Comedy Festival in 2018. So I just graduated from NICA. I was very fortunate to get a job straight out of NICA, and we premiered that like literally 2018, and then that kicked off a beautiful career that I've been doing with them ever since. Some of the other like festivals and like gigs that we've done with that show have been Melbourne Fringe Festival, Adelaide Fringe Festival, Edinburgh Fringe Festival. They're kind of like the main ones, but the best thing about that is that's meant that I've toured professionally with that company, and we've been able to go to these amazing festivals and do our show. Now, the next segment is the why. The why I got into circus. Being in the gymnastics scene was and felt very toxic by the end of it, and I really wasn't enjoying life doing that. And so, as I mentioned before, I tried out a lot of other sports, and it was through finishing gymnastics and like searching all of these like sports, trying to find what was next, that I found circus. And when I tried circus, I fell in love. Like, it was so much fun. You got to perform. There was this creative freedom that you didn't have with so many other sports, and it was something that I'd really craved and knew that I was craving by the end of gymnastics. And I wanted that, and I found that with circus, and I fell in love with that aspect and training the skills and getting to climb all over people. It was amazing finding that, and I think also the community around circus as well. I fell in love with that because everyone is so lovely. You work in a team and you form really close bonds with the people that you do end up working, which is just such a beautiful thing. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to stop it there. If you do have any further questions, let me know down in the comments below. But if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and that little notification bell if you want to be notified anytime I upload a new video, which is usually once a week on Sundays. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. But let's get... Are you kidding me? My camera is dead. You just showed me 2 bars.